Another edition of the Pick and Dons podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. It's a beautiful day in Chicago. It's finals week, man. We got those 2 days in between each game, man. It's kind of rubbing me the wrong way a little bit. I was happily expecting. I was like, oh, maybe the game's on tonight, and then I forgot. Yeah, rest of the NBA playoffs, man, was on one game off night game. They switched it up, rightfully so, for the finals. But man, we're getting to that point, Zoo, where sports are limited until football season. It's about to be right around the corner. So we got to enjoy it while we can.
Absolutely. There's only a few number of games left. I'm just like, might be 3 more games left. It just might be. That's all I'm saying. Like that's not gonna lie. If I put money on it, I'm putting money. There's only 3 games left from what I've seen so far. We did see another miracle again. Like the miracles, this is like the team of destiny with the number of miracles that happens. But you know what I say about Cinderella stories? Cinderella, like I'm not gonna lie, Cinderella is doing quite well right now. Doing
better than anyone.
Well. Yeah, doing quite well. But you know what happens at the end? The big Goliath team takes care of business, and Cinderella goes home crying. So it happens. It happens year over year. But making it this far and going 50-50s for a start. Shouts to the Pacers.
The road.
Yeah, shouts to the Pacers because if I'm them, I'm happy. I'm happy because they didn't play that well. 50-50, 1-1. It's a 3-game. The best 3 more games. First 3 games now.
Pretty much.
From the Pacers, I am ecstatic, especially how game 1 win and how it was looking at the, I guess, late end or beginning of the fourth quarter. You know, it's just, again, destiny. Feels like they're a team that's just destined to win. So we're going to see these next couple of games how they figure out a plan to slow down OKC because they did what they're supposed to do in game 2. So, Peebush, go ahead and get us started on what you think you've seen in the first 2 games and what you expect for the rest of this series.
Jesus, man. I'll just start on the recap first, and we can save game 3. But, man, that game 1, I mean, just absolutely blown away. You look at almost every single metric. Couple that the Pacers were actually favored in and have been doing very well. One was the amount of assists compared to the Thunder. I thought in game 1, they were just SGA central. I know Lou Dort hit his 5 threes or whatever. God knows someone had that on a bet slip. Prayers up to you, man. Congratulations. Hope you had a nice little cash out. But SGA, 38 points in game 1, man. Very stagnant offense. Just not really moving the ball as well that we've seen them do the rest of these playoffs. I mean, Caruso he's a decent game, but Chet non-existent. Jalen Williams completely non-existent. And somehow the Thunder were still absolutely kicking their butts, man, going into the fourth quarter. But, the one thing the Pacers had was the Thunder were missing a lot of their shots on a percentage basis outside of SGA, and they were getting a lot of rebounds. They absolutely manhandled them on the offensive and defensive boards. But 26 turnovers, man. Unbelievable. That has to be a record for a finals win to have that number of turnovers and still win an NBA finals game because I don't understand. The other team had 6. I mean, unbelievable. I couldn't understand it. But the moment came, man, that Nembhard step back 3. Ooh, I know you were at the weekend concert, Zoo, but damn, that was a nice move, dude. When he hit that shot, I was like, oh, here we go again. And then obviously Tyrese with the no time. Shout out to Rick Carlisle, man. No timeout. He knows his team.
Let him play
multiple times, man. He knew to let him play it out. And once again, he hit the shot. They only led for 0.3 seconds, man, in this entire game, and they took it. Huge win. But game 2, the Thunder took it to heart, man. They came out aggressive. They not only were a bit more balanced and moving the ball, SGA still had his nice game, of course, but Jalen Williams, his numbers weren't great in the end, but he still was much better than game 1. Chet Holmgren had a huge game. We got to talk about Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso combining for 38 off the bench, man.
Caruso.
That's the difference in the game. There's 2 different. That was the X factor for the Thunder, was that, and that is the only reason that can happen is because they were moving the ball a lot better compared to game 1. SGA was not heliocentric, right, in that offense. They were moving it around a lot. And secondly, they attacked and they got to the line. They took 33 free throws. I think they had 10 more made free throws than the Pacers. Just more aggressive overall. And once again, the Pacers could not get a 20-point scorer. Unbelievable. They had 7 dudes with double digits. Mathurin, McConnell, great off the bench. Miles Turner, solid game. But Obi Toppin, I said this before the series, man, that was his game where he got a little 3 happy, 1 for 8, 1 for 5 from 3. When you're not feeling it, man, you gotta change hands. Go to Neesmith, go to Nembhard, who has definitely proven that he can create his own shot. I think that is really solidified with Andrew Nembhard. But I think just a quick final statement on those first 2 games. I thought Siakam would be a little bit more aggressive. I'm surprised that he wasn't. Same thing with Halliburton. He really he went 7 for 13 or 7 for 14 overall in game 2. He wasn't taking any shots. He maybe took 2 shots in the first half. He's got to be more aggressive going forward because he's obviously – we talked about him struggling against this perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he showed that he can score. He can get to the rim. He can take his shots. He's just not being assertive with it. And I think that's the last step he has to become a superstar is truly owning the team. Maybe he thinks it's Siakam's at this point, but he's got to take the reins, man. It's got to be those 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, for game 1, not gonna lie, I was at the Weeknd concert, man. I was at the Weeknd concert and I missed this beautiful, beautiful game. Not gonna lie, I did see a showcase. I did see something special, so I watched this game 1 day later. 1 day later, I had to catch up this game because I was like, oh, wow, a miracle. Gotta rewatch this game because not gonna lie, I missed something special, especially if it was live, man.
Yeah.
It was something special. I was like, oh my, what the? How are they doing this again? How? I don't understand this team because, for me, this is the matchup. They just don't match up well. And obviously, in game 1, they completely got outplayed. It is shocking how this team in the fourth quarter can make all these multiple point runs, especially in a team in OKC. There's a high end execution team. This is a very high IQ team. This is a very good defensive team. And I guess a lot of it is because shot making in the clutch, and you just hit some crazy threes and. Some of those shots, it was a good defense. They just hit a better shot.
SGA did miss that one. I was surprised SGA missed at the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You compare Halliburton's clutch stats versus SGA, it's not even close. Halliburton is having probably the greatest playoff clutch run in the history of basketball right now, with 4 playoff game winners or game tying shots that forced overtime that went to victories. So Tyrese Halliburton ain't scared of the moment. And even though in that game 1, he even admitted he had little butterflies. He had a little butterfly. So the moment did get to him for a quarter, and he was able to settle down and regroup. And with Halliburton, when he doesn't start off as hot in the beginning, his stats aren't as good, but he was able to still have it. I would say it's still an all right game, but having the confidence to go isolation and just a midi. I for sure thought he in those situations, he chucking the 3. That's his thing. He likes doing the 3. The midi, I don't remember a midi in Hallie's bag of going that midi and pulling up because that's not really his shot. He's more of he's a finesse guy, 3-point shooter. He likes shooting the deep threes, like an ice tray. That's the type of shots that he likes taking. But hitting that mid range and that confidence, I'm just oh my God, this guy just did it again against this defense. This defense is relentless, as you mentioned. It is a relentless defense. But that first game when I'm okay, this is that miracle mode. This miracle. I kind of remember with the Aaron Gordon against the Thunder with that tip dunk. That was that miracle moment. It kind of reminded me of that. Same thing with this shot. I was like, okay,
4-7 though, Zoo.
It did. That's the thing. It did 4-7. It did 4-7. But I thought OKC was the best team in the regular season throughout. They've proven themselves that they've been the best team all year round. So in game 2, they have a little regression, a lot of regression actually, because
a lot, yeah.
A lot. I'm just the matchup with Halliburton and these guards. I'm he just can't do it. And now he's banged up a little. He's saying he's got a lower body injury. He's being very, very vague about it, but clearly he's not 100%. So you're going not 100% against this defense right now where I'm just the torture chambers for real. This dude he's that guy that you play in the park, and this guy just shoving you. He's that football player that doesn't know how to play basketball, but he got that physicality where oh, get away from me. What are you doing?
Right.
And that wears you out. Even just full court pressing, and you don't even got the ball. You don't even got the ball, and you're doing that. That is very physically taxing on a guy at Halliburton where he has to carry a lot of load because Halliburton is a plus-minus of positive in the series. When he's off the court, they're minus 20 plus, and on the court, he's plus 7. So Halliburton is impacting the game, even though his statistical-wise, he's not having a great statistical season. That Knicks series, it was just kind of Swiss cheese, him driving by guards. The lackadaisical defense of the bigs, he was able to get in the paint relentlessly and with his floaters. Can't do that with this team. The physicality, the bigs are way better on this roster. So the matchup wise, I'm like, Halliburton is just limited. I'm like, this guy averaging 20 points a game, that's what's going to take to get it done. No way it happens with the series. This team is too good. Now, Cason Wallace, obviously inserting him in the starting line, but as you need another guy to have a small guard with elite defense guarding him. Like, they're giving him different looks, and Tyrese already admitted this is the best defense he's played against.
For sure.
The best. And statistically, against the Thunder series, he's been below his averages significantly. So he hasn't less than 14 points. Yeah, so I'm like, these guys, this physicality, man. I'm like, this is really, even if you have an elite player, like I would call a true like A1, like all NBA first team superstar.
Anthony Edwards.
Exactly. They're going to struggle against this type of team. But like Halliburton, he's not like a natural scorer. So for him as a pass first guy,
that's
like
that's the thing.
He has promise he has to score for his roster right now because as you mentioned, there's no 20-point scorer. Like Siakam, like I don't know, Siakam against the Knicks, he was cooking, but right now he's just kind of a role player. Like he needs to be a guy that could impose his size where we thought he might have a slight size advantage, or if they put a big on him, have a slight speed advantage. Siakam's been invisible. I'm sorry. Like the Eastern Conference Eastern Conference MVP kind of look like a pumpkin right now. Like he's kind of a role player. He's kind of a role player right now. And like as you mentioned, like now we talk about the Pacers bench, like TJ McConnell, completely irrelevant. You play against a defense like this small little guy with the little mid-range guys. You can't do that buffoonery. The Knicks defense look an absolute. He'll just go ring around the Rosie.
Yeah, he loves doing that. Going to go and then come back.
Are you kidding? They ain't working
Harlem
again.
Globetrotters.
They're trying to get into Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace. Are you kidding me? This defense is unbelievable. And not only these guys on the perimeter are so good defensively, these role players shooting the lights out, like absolutely shooting the lights out. These role like. Alex Caruso, man, like Sam Presti doing that Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso trade. If they didn't have Alex Caruso, they might not be in the finals.
They might not have won.
If you think about that Nuggets series, he was key. He was on Jokic. He was hitting big threes. Like he scored a lot of 20-point games throughout this playoff run. Like Alex Caruso in the moment plays awesome. Like Alex Caruso,
Wiggins huge too.
That acquisition might have won them a championship. Because I'm sorry, like Josh Giddey just doesn't fit the roster. Like Sam Presti really did something special, just identifying a guy like Alex Caruso, add him to the roster, and be like, we need this role player for this team, and he fits perfectly with SGA and Lou Dort and all these guys on the perimeter. Like he's just the perfect role player. So I got Sam Presti odds for building this team, but I just think the Pacers are overmatched. Even though that miracle game did happen, I was like, wow, okay, maybe it can go 6 now. Maybe it can go 6 now. But in my mind, I'm still firm on OKC in 5. I was like, okay, they're gonna have one of these games where they pull it off, even though, as you guys mentioned, like they led the game for 0.3 seconds, like something crazy happened. Like, okay, these miracle, like kind of reminds me when the Knicks won those miracle games. I'm like, their luck is about to run out against a team that's better than them, and I feel like they're looking at this right now. I'm like, they're the better team, and it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. There's no shame in losing this OKC team that is dominant. SGA is averaging 36 points a game as a guard, with 3 steals, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He is putting up a clinic at the guard position. Like, SGA is legit. Like, this guy is, wow. In the finals, no regression. You guys see him being, like, nervous? Nope. None at all. He's playing with a bunch of young pups. Like
he's playing with fire for sure.
Dude, he is. I'm just like, man, this guy's, like, no unclutches about this guy. He just plays his normal regular season. Like, his regular season and his postseason, his stats are virtually identical. Virtually, he's a 30-point guy. He's a 30-point guy in the regular season. He's a 30-point guy in the playoffs at the guard position where the physicality goes up, but no problem for him. He just bumps you mid-range. Really physical player for a guy that's that skinny. So, yeah, shout out to OKC because, like, man, this roster is just better than the Pacers. And I'll be lucky for them to get one more.
I kind of feel like with SGA too, it's obvious that his play has been leveled throughout the entire regular season, and even in the playoffs, you can maybe say it's gone up a little bit, but it's still kind of consistently the same. I do feel like, though, because the team is so stacked, that does take a lot of pressure off of you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does make you feel like you can be a little bit more. It's the same thing with like if you're just at the park and you're playing against whoever, and you maybe never played this guy before, and it's like you kind of sense within the first 5 minutes, like, oh, he can't kind of run or he can't guard me. You may try some moves you never really tried when you're playing pickup now. because you're playing one-on-one and it's just like, oh, well, this guy, I can recover and I can do whatever because he's not athletic enough to guard me. It kind of is not that extreme, but it kind of feels like he can kind of make some, and this is, I think, where they got in trouble in game one. It just, they were up. I remember, I think Caruso made that crazy and one, and it just felt like, yeah, this is over. And then, as the Pacers done all season, all playoff and postseason, they just kept chipping away. So, like I said, they got that game one. I'm kind of with you, too. If game one was more close, like maybe the Pacers were only down like 10-5, 10-5 throughout the entire game, and then they came back and won, I'd have a little bit more confidence. But because OKC controlled that game one so well, and it felt like they just let their foot off the gas, and then Indiana, to their credit, took advantage, it does feel like it's in the realm of where it may go 5, which is kind of disappointing because that's less basketball. But I will say that I said before the series, man, I need Siakam to maybe instill himself as the number one option. And at least in the last game, he got 14, 13 shot attempts up, but nothing was really falling for him.
3 for 11. 3 for
11 shot attempts.
Game one was a little bit better.
It's a tough one. Yeah, and they won that one, so it does give me a little bit of hope. But I still feel like if you watch the game, OKC controlled the game, and it just felt like because even when that game was in, the balance, if SGA knocks down that jumper in the mid-range, the game's over.
No,
so
Hallie
missed that. Yeah, Hallie would have maybe hit a 3, but it was kind of just like Indiana showed up in game one. So how I'm looking at this is, if I'm Indiana, the adjustments I can make is, hey, we're playing at home. Siakam's probably going to have a better game. Nembhard's going to play better. The guys on the bench are going to play extremely better. And 2, you could argue, like, even though this didn't dictate the game, if you mean to tell me, and I like Caruso, but if he's going 4 for 8 and Wiggins is going 5 for 8 from 3,
not happening.
Like, they still win the game, obviously, but I'm looking at Indiana. I'm like, I don't know. I'm feeling good. Like, if I'm a team if I'm whoever, like Indiana or OKC, the team that I feel like still has the most confidence is Indiana, because we did what we were supposed to do. And 2, I do think there is a little bit of, because it's not even a little bit, it's a lot of the narrative around Indiana is no lead is really safe. So I would say out of Indiana and OKC, if you think about their performances, I don't want to talk about OKC's first round matchup, but just from the first or from the second round on, Indiana has had more games where it's like, oh, they blowing that team out. Like, and it's a team that's way better than them. Like OKC, when they were blowing out Minnesota, or when they blew out whoever, I don't think they ever blew out Denver. Maybe in like game 2, Denver, they snapped around. Yeah. And a lot of those games, it's like those are, you can just set those in stone, because like game 1, they wasn't supposed to lose in that Denver series. They lost it. You kind of almost just bet the house that the team at home was going to blow them out in game 2. Same thing with Minnesota in that game 3. Bet the house they're going to blow out OKC in that game 3 because they went down 0-2 or whatever. It kind of feels like they've had those type of games. But with Indiana, it feels like just like OKC, like Indiana's a raucous crowd. Miles Turner, those guys start shooting threes, anything could happen. That's withstanding. The key is Siakam's got to be the number one guy, because to your point, Joe, I think brought it up. Halliburton is not a scoring guard. He's just not. He is a guy, and it's going to be interesting depending on how the series goes, which we all kind of think OKC is going to win it. I wonder if they would make a move to get more of a proven, and it's not to say Siakam can't do what he do, but we kind of understand he's just kind of up and down a little bit. Like, he's not a bona fide number one guy, even though he won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, whatever. If they got like a number 2 guy who's like a bona fide scorer, where you pencil him in for 20-25 every game, playoffs or regular season, maybe that helps Halliburton out more, because it's obvious, and he can still continue to grow as a player, but it's obvious that, and I think in his best of everything, he's the number 3 guy scoring option. Like, I think if in his mind right now, if he could have it his way, he would want to have 2 guys on the wings that can go get buckets, and he can facilitate and then make plays off of that. But how the team is set up, they don't really have that. And there's nobody that's coming up in the wings outside of Siakam that you kind of like, oh, that's a guy. Like Benedict Mathurin was drafted high, but he's not really a guy that's going to be a go-to scorer, I don't think. Maybe he could. But that's kind of the thing. And when you're looking at Halliburton as being your number 2, that's tough. And I know they do death by 1,000 cuts, so that's not how they won all postseason. But when we're talking about a team like OKC, who we just seen Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso go crazy from three, and like you say, you got the torture chamber on one end, and we hadn't even mentioned Chet Holmgren, who's kind of just usually getting about 15, maybe 17 points, but he could go off at any point. It's tough, and like you said, we all kind of understand that what OKC is doing, they're probably going to end up winning the series. But I still have faith. I do think in Game 3, though, it's more of a must-win for OKC.
Yes,
because I don't want it to be a situation. Because what could happen is, let's just say Game 3 goes down to the wire and Indiana pulls it out. Then I could totally see a situation because of just them being up 2-1, everybody not picking them. They have that game they had against Cleveland where they just, like, what was that game? Was it Game 4 or whatever? Like they beat Cleveland by like 45, 50 points. I could see that happening. Now they wouldn't beat them by 40 points, but I could see them beating by like 25 in the next game. Because then, to your point about Shea and OKC and the pressure, I do still feel like there's way more pressure on them because they have to win this. Indiana is house money with them. Like Zeus said, it's just they having fun, running around. Like there is no pressure with Indiana. Tyrese is limited in the moment. Like, and I think that's why it's helping them in clutch moments. I know it's Tyrese the only one taking shots, but I do feel like when there's not that added pressure, I can go make a midi. Now, it's still hard to make, but I can go make a midi because if I miss it, we're down 0-1. It doesn't matter. Nobody's expecting this. Everybody on Indiana knows OKC has to win this. It'll be a colossal failure if they don't win this finals, considering the opponent they're playing.
Yep. Like the teams that are coming up in a couple of years that they're going to have to
and like you said, it's colossal failure could be strong because they draft well, and I know it's the Western Conference, but whatever, they could probably get back because they don't have their experience. But all of the pressure rides on OKC. So for me, I think with Indiana, it just two things. Siakam has to be the dude. I need 25-30 from him. I can't get no 17-20. Like, I need 25-30, and preferably those last 5 points are in crunch time or in the fourth quarter where they're meaningful buckets. And I think their bench guys got to step up, which I think they will. Because even with Obi, he didn't play well in that game too. But I mean, he hit 5 threes in that first game, which was super surprising just in terms of his play style. And I was kind of like, I don't know if that's going to work, but it did. So I'm super excited about that. Like, if I'm an Indiana fan, that's what I'm hoping on and banking on. But I don't know. OKC they need to come in focus for sure for Game 3. They need to workman like.
I agree, dude. I think this Game 3. I think the Pacers win Game 3. I thought you brought up a great point.
I'm not mad at that.
Wow. Look, I know. Like they've been playing horrible. The OKC defense, man. The series is tied. It's not like they're down 0-2, right? And the Thunder are kind of like chilling, Because the one thing about the Thunder, I will say, is sometimes they get a little complacent, and that's why, to your point, Zoo, earlier, the Caruso trade was huge because I feel like he keeps the team very focused and locked in, especially on the defensive side. Yeah. I said, all right, guys, we need to get an easy bucket. Let's just give it to SGA. Let's run a pick and roll, get a good matchup on him, right? Get a quick midi. Boom. Just get the team back on track. He's really good at that. But if you have so many guys that are in their own head, like in Game 1, Chet was way off, Jalen Williams was way off. Really no one outside of SGA was doing anything. They can kind of get a little shaky. And I'm not saying like the Pacers played their worst game all playoffs.
They didn't play well either. You're right.
Season in Game 1, and they still won that game. So it shows the Thunder, like the Pacers defense is no joke either. I know the Thunder, like SGA is going to get his. It's just like Jokic. You can't do anything about it. All right. That's why they're the 2 MVPs for a reason, or the MVP candidates this year. But I do think, Sean, to your point, a big game for the Pacers is 25 points. With how balanced the scoring team is, 25 points is a huge game. That's why we don't see it that often. And when he dropped, did he drop 40 against the Knicks, or was it 38? But when he had that game,
somewhere around there,
I was shocked. Now, granted, he only missed like 4 shots that whole game, but he needs to do something similar. I agree, Sean. He has to be the guy. But we also, I think, in this series, if they do want to force 6 or 7, if that's what we're saying is generous for this Pacers team, Hallie needs to have one of those double 30 and 10, 25 and 10 games.
That's asking a lot. I feel like.
It's asking a lot, but we've seen him do it. I know it was against a different defense, but if he hits his threes, he hits his threes. And I think that's the biggest thing. And we also haven't seen him be aggressive against the Thunder team. but he can obviously get to the hole. He hit a shot right on Cason Wallace with easy separation to win that game. He can create shots. Maybe the mid-range is the key, Zoo. They expect him to get his drive floater from 10 feet away. Or
I think it's his mentality.
It's mentality.
I don't think he's wired to be like, it's so foreign because he's a point guard. That's what he is. He's not a scoring guard, but he needs to be. But that's why I think they should.
And he's done.
He has to win.
And we've seen him do it. So obviously he has the ability to do it.
Yeah.
Now the Thunder team, yes, it's a larger obstacle that he has to jump over. But I think the Pacers take game 3. Now maybe that's just me having a little bias right here. But at the same time,
I'm with you.
You're asking them to win one. Like if you want to force 6 and make it a good series, right? Not have a gentleman sweep. I don't think it's out of the norm for them to win one of the next 3 games. Not even a question. When 2 of them are at home,
if KC comes out, like if they come out,
how many home games did the Thunder lose this year?
I don't
10,
know.
maybe, if that, including playoffs, maybe 10 games.
Indiana, bro. The one thing about them is they don't, and I know KC's a Goliath, but like the one thing about them when they're at home, I've seen it too much, is when they get on top of you in that crowd and they start making threes, it gets overwhelming. I don't know what it is, but they start blowing you out. It's not like you get within 15. No, they just put the metal to 100 miles per hour and it just goes crazy. So if OKC comes out like, okay, now we won the series, that's why it's going to be interesting to see the matchups of mentality. Like if OKC is truly a championship team, they should go in there and throttle Indiana in game 3. Don't play around. Because if you're in this, because especially in the finals, like, and I think Charles Barkley or Shaq, I think Shaq might have said it, but it's just about like if you're a championship team, you have to play and at all times be on championship mode, not we're the better team. So we like when Shea was smiling against, I think when they lost against Denver in that game 5, whenever they lost, it was a picture of him smiling, and it's like, I think he was smiling because, we're going to end up winning in 7. Don't play around with the basketball guys, especially with this team. Like, we can get them in 6 or 7 at home. Do not play with them, because if you do this with Indiana, they will win the series because the basketball gods are obviously on their side. Do not play with them. Demolish them when, like you said, Zoo, to your point, finish them in 5. Stop playing if you're that team.
So here we go.
That's my opinion.
They've lost 8 before this series. They lost 8 home games all year, playoffs and regular season. And the Pacers have another one. They gave them their 9th. So, I thought that was huge. And obviously, to your point, Sean, they're down in Indy. They're no joke of fans either. They're going to be just as obnoxious, just as loud. We'll see how Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren do. I ain't worried about SGA. He's going to do his own thing. But those other 2 guys, I'm sorry, but you can
I ain't worried about SGA.
Aaron Wiggins and Caruso giving you nearly 40 a night. I know that, dude.
Yeah,
they won by 6. They won by 16. Okay, they had 40, almost 40 off the bench from those 2 guys, and the Pacers pulled their starters with 5 minutes left.
Yep, they put up the white flag early.
So we're like, they kicked their butts last night. Outside of the bench guys, I don't know.
And they shot crazy from 3. Like, I don't know.
They shot crazy from 3, and it was at home. So
if you are a champion, do what you
Pacers
do.
in 7, man. Give me Pacers in 7.
Tell you, they get that game 3. There's going to be a lot of people starting to maybe echo that sentiment because it's obvious that it's. And I just go right now to my X factor. I think the biggest X factor outside of obviously the biggest factor is Siakam. I think Nembhard, his versatility on both sides of the floor, because he's kind of been matching up with SGA. And the one thing about SGA I will say is he's been chucking a lot of shots. So it's like, efficiency wise, he's been okay, but ideally, you probably don't want him, especially in that game 1. He had a lot of shots. I don't know if you want him doing that. Maybe to the range of what he's doing in game 2. I think he's like 11 or 20, 11, 21, whatever. But he's going to be the X factor because outside of those Siakam and Halliburton, he is the small guard who can get his shot off the dribble when he wants to. He can pull up from 3. He can do mid-range. He can get to the lane off a back cut. Like, he's a guy who I think has to be on his game, and when I say on his game, he needs to be in the 15 to 18 point range area for the rest of the series. If he can do that, I would feel confident in thinking the series could go 6 or 7. But if he's in that pittering around 9-10 point range, that ain't gonna work. But he's the only one because Nesmith to me is too streaky. Again, love TJ McConnell, but it kind of feels like this series is a little bit of a this is the don't want to say this is the big boy shit because they're all NBA players, but it just feels like he's more of he's the backup guard. Benedict Mathurin could maybe be one, like just because he has size and they do go up and down, so like maybe that's more of a style. But I do think Nembhard, at least, because people forget in that first game, everybody talks about the Tyrese 3, of course, but where the momentum shifted was when he had that one-on-one with SGA, and I think they knocked it down to a 3-point lead.
Yep.
That was the momentum shifter. Was Nembhard hitting that 3 outside of that was on SGA, right?
Yeah, brought him within 3.
Yeah. Yep. So that's my guy. That's the guy with you.
Two-way player. SGA. Come on, man. He got crossed up. Woo!
And Nembhard's like what, 6'2"?
Right away, and he was
6'1"?
like, I missed it. I'm at the Weeknd concert. And I was like,
that's a better choice. So yeah, the Weeknd I would rather be there. And I'll just catch the highlights later.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll catch the highlights later. But yeah, Nembhard. That's
X Factor, Nembhard, yeah. I mean, I'll just reiterate. I do think Miles Turner has to be better.
He has to be a threat.
He needs to rebound the ball. I'm sorry, man. Like
4 rebounds.
4 rebounds. Come
That's
on,
embarrassing.
Like 6'10", 6'11". Like I don't know. Maybe they're pulling him away. I know the small lineup, but it's you're guarding Chet Holmgren at the start, man. Like you can out rebound him. You're a bigger dude than him. I know I said that he can't be 2-3 happy. That doesn't mean he can't have a big game. He can, that throwdown that he had in game 2. I don't know if you guys remember seeing that.
I saw that.
They need to do more of that. That's how Halliburton can get the ball moving a lot more. Get the pick and roll going. Chet Holmgren, he's a decent defender, but I think Miles Turner is the X factor on their side. And then on the Thunder side, once again, they've kind of gotten, I'm not going to say lucky because they have so many guys that can come in and do this, but the 3-point barrage from Wiggins and Caruso in game 2, the barrage from Lou Dort in game 1. I mean, maybe they're just going to keep shooting it this well. We said the same thing about Julius Randle before the Thunder series, obviously. Like, was it going to be time for him to cool down and come back to reality? Maybe that happens with the Thunder. But they always got to have at least one dude off the bench. Or I'm going to add Cason Wallace in there too because I know he's starting, but kind of a similar player at this point in his career. They need to have one of those dudes have a big game every single one of the games in this series in order to handle it easily, or else it's going to be a close call. And I don't want to face this team in Indiana at the end of the game. No chance.
Dang.
No.
We'll take the clutch player.
Oh yeah, you mentioned OKC, those bench guys. I'm like, I don't care who it is because it
doesn't matter.
Even if the bench guys have off game, their defense could just hold the Indiana Pacers 107 points, and it be one of those brutal physical games, and let SGA be SGA because this guy's dropping 30 points a game, and let him be the go-to guy. They could win a lower shooting game where the bench player's not doing much, missing their threes. Okay, then SGA could take over in the midi and become like that number alpha scorer and I guess more ball dominant guy. If they're double teaming him, obviously that's the way I'm making SGA become a passer. That's my way of, because I've seen they've done it a couple times. SGA, their double team's kind of weak. Like it's a weak double team. They got to rotate better because when he's on that left side in the mid post, on Nembhard, they double team, switch, J Dub 3, boom, boom, Alex Caruso corner 3 wide open. They got to rotate better on that.
They do.
Like in the rotation, they're just too slow. They're too slow on these rotations. I'm just like, if you're gonna double SGA and force someone else to beat you, your rotation's got to be crispier to have at least a hand in the face on the corner 3. Because if you give me AC open threes in the corner, that guy's gonna hit more than he's gonna miss. So like their rotation's got to be better. So for me personally, OKC don't got an X factor, man. They just got the better team. Indiana, like Indiana, they need a lot of X factors. Like because clearly right now, Halliburton, we already know he ain't gonna play as well he's played against the Knicks because of the matchup. Like Tyrese Halliburton is 21-10. Like he ain't doing that this series. Just it's a matchup situation. So it has to be someone else that got to step it up. But who it is, I got one name looking at Benedict Mathurin. This is one of the few guys off the bench where this guy was 16 points in the regular season. He was a bench guy, like 16-5 off the bench. Like that's a real he's a real spark plug. Where in the playoffs he's been definitely high and low. Like he has these games where he's just a complete He cannot be a non-factor. Like I need 18 to 20 points from this guy, and this guy's one of the more physical guards. He's 6'5", 210, so he could match up with the physicality, and I think he's a good shooter too. So Benedict Mathurin as a scorer, he needs to be putting up close to 20 points a game in the series right now because
they need it.
Out of the guard play, like Nembhard is definitely a very streaky shooter. He has games where he just shoots the light out, but he has games where he just misses everything. So he's a very streaky shooter. I think Bennedict Mathurin is more of that traditional. His role on a team, he gets buckets. Like he's
aggressive. He gets to the line actually.
Yeah, exactly. He has to be aggressive. He needs to be offensive minded and taking good, high quality 3-point shots because he's not the greatest 3-point shooter. He's an okay 3-point shooter, but he needs to be a scorer. Yep. He needs to be an absolute scorer because I don't know, like Pascal. I've never been the biggest Pascal Siakam fan, but they're 3 for 11. It just cannot happen. Like this is a guy that when he scored 30 points against the Knicks, this Pacers team won. Like if Pascal Siakam didn't have those big 30-point like big games, they don't win the series. Yeah. They don't win the series. So I'm looking at Siakam. I'm like, your team needs you right now to become an efficient scorer because we know we're eliminating Halliburton against this defense right now. So I'm looking at these perimeter guys to be like, okay, we gotta get some points right now. So to me, it's Pascal Siakam, it's Bennedict Mathurin, these bigger wing guys. Like you guys got to score in the 20, 25, 30. Yeah. Because right now, as you mentioned, like just no 20-point score. It's more of a balanced team, but you need some guys to get over 20 plus. I'm sorry. You're not going to beat this team with a bunch of guys scoring the 18, 14, and 12. Like it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
And it's still 1-1. The way Zoo's talking, it's like it's down 3-0.
No, that game one, I'm watching. Like, it was so it was destiny how they pulled that off, and all props for the shot making they did in the clutch. But that is not repeatable. That is like you're gonna rely on another miracle in the same series. Like that, I call this one miracle a series. Tyrese had one of these miracle games in each of the series. I'm giving them one miracle series. You ain't gonna win 3 more times like that.
They can't win how they won in game 1.
No, but I don't think they will.
There's a possibility where, like again, they're at home, and we'll see how the OKC plays on the road. Like I said, there were times in that, and I know Denver has Jokic, but there were times in that series on the road that OKC felt like they had control of the game, and then they just lost it because of how they played in that fourth quarter. So it'd be different if it felt like they've just run roughshod of the entire Western Conference. And they won their series that they're supposed to win. Like I said, they took care of Minnesota the first round, and they won against Jokic in the second round. But I mean, they have shown the tendency to kind of take their foot off the gas. And with Indiana, it's more so I've just seen Indiana just run you out of the gym. Now they're not going to run OKC out of the gym because they're just too good. But like when I say run you out of the gym, like if they get hot, like I can't get that Cleveland game in my head when they were just making it. Like Miles Turner when he made that 1-3, like when they stole it before it went to like the fourth quarter, he just made that 1-3 and it put him up by like 45. I was like, what? Like I know Cleveland was going through their stuff, but it's just like, what? This is just unbelievable how everybody on the floor can make threes. And like I said, the thing is they're OKC light. Like OKC has everybody on the floor. They can score or do something. They can even Lou Dort, as defensive he is, he can make an open 3. Like, Indiana's like that too. They just have lesser players. They don't have guys who do it repeatedly. That's why OKC is the better team. But who knows, man? Like I'm just to the point where, yeah, I agree. It's probably going to end in 5 or 6, but I'm not shocked. And I would, I'm with people. It's like they could get a game 3 because it's too much. Indiana it's not. I keep joking with basketball god stuff, but like, dude, they're just a resilient team. And to me, they are the one team, like we've seen all postseason. It doesn't matter. OKC could go on the road and get up by 15. If I'm an Indiana fan, I'm opening another beer. I'm like, okay, here comes the show. I'm ready to go play now because they're probably going to come back at home. Like, that's just, they can come back and if it gets tricky in that fourth quarter, give me Indiana. Because I know SGA's level has always played, but I'm not betting against Indiana, man. They're a tough team. And like I said, Rick Carlisle, man, a lot of this too is he's coaching his butt off. Like I know everybody talks about the Case and Wallace move, but like there's been a lot of conversation about like they should have went double big in that first game more, and it might have not got to a point where they're Tyrese is going down to get the last shot. So that'll be interesting as well. But yeah, Miles Turner is another good one. Yeah, we'll see. Because, he's kind of caddish a little bit with like, he's not really, he's not he'd rather be on the perimeter shooting threes. This could be interesting. I think he's on his last year, isn't he?
Yeah.
Interesting what they
say they're going to give a nice contract after making the finals. A nice contract.
As they should.
Interesting.
He deserves it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been there for the highs and the lows. So
And it's just kind of weird because if they do lose this series, it's like they made the finals and you should celebrate that. But it's like if Tyrese was more of a if Tyrese was like had Donovan Mitchell's bag where he's a score first guard, I'd be
he's
less
like the greatest
concerned.
point guard of all time, man.
Well, I'm talking about obviously he wouldn't be the passer and the playmaker he is, but I'm just saying if he had that more mentality, I would be more likely to be like, okay, I trust in these moments. If Pascal doesn't have it, he'll have it because he can go get it. He'll just have the ability to go get it. But that's just I don't think he's more of a Jason Kidd type point guard, pass first guy. And I think with that type of mentality, he needs Pascal to step up. But I don't know.
Yeah, he needs Pascal to be a 25-point guy. And he's been more of a 15
consistently.
And then we said this at the beginning of the series. He has the matchup ability to do that in this series. He's the only one that has a decent matchup because he's not playing the perimeter. Yeah, but he's not taking advantage. I have no idea. It's shocking to me.
Sometimes I think it's just mentality, but a lot of guys. It's Pascal, I think deep down, he's not like even in that Toronto series, who was he? Who was on that team? Kawhi, he was second probably. Or with
Fred VanVleet.
Maybe was second. Fred and him were, jostling for number 2. But yes, I don't know. But he has to be the guy. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
Like I said, Pacers, OKC. We're gonna see how this all shapes out. It's kind of sad because the NBA season is over, and then literally it'll be draft season. Like probably a week or two after that, which is kind of crazy. Yeah,
I was going first overall.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something that was not who we all think it is and being Cooper Flag? That would be something, a headline for sure. But yeah, make sure you guys are tuning into our channel for our NBA's final coverage, whether it's me doing a bunch of reels on Instagram or me doing stuff on Facebook or whatever platform you guys consume us on. Make sure you're looking at us at Tyson Talks _ for most of those socials, YouTube, Quantrill Knows, audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you give us a 5-star review so we get algorithms on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are